And here we go.
What's up?
Okay, so right off the bat, she gives us the overly dramatic, exasperated breath, as though she just can't do it anymore, right? Chicks like this, okay, chicks who do this breath thing to make us say, they do this to make us say, oh, look, she took a deep breath. This must mean what she's about to say is very serious and important. We'd better pay attention because she is so totally triggered, and anytime a female is triggered, we must pay attention. What this little dramatic breath tells me is that Katie's husband, Katie Emerson's husband, David, he feeds into her emotional shenanigans on the regular. If she whines or if she cries or if she takes some deep, dramatic breath, he jumps to her aid and says, OMG, honey, what's wrong with you, baby? What can I do to help? I'll do anything to make you happy because I can't stand it when you're mad. She expects everyone watching this to have the same reaction as her husband, which is why she did this overly dramatic breath in the first place. Women like this are insufferable because they're so self-important. They think they matter so damn much that they feel like all they have to do is take this big dramatic breath and people will just stand at attention hanging on her every word. So right from the jump, she's showing us how neurotic and emotionally unstable she is. And again, keep in mind that what she's about to speak on doesn't apply to her, allegedly. Let's continue.
Guys, it's Katie, and if I seem very emotional in this video today, I am not going to apologize for it because I have just read one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen. It's interesting because
one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen. There's the theatrics again. The breathing, the pearl clutching, the hyperbole, it's all there. But again, I'll point out that if none of these things apply to her in the article that she's about to talk about, then she wouldn't be having this meltdown, guys. She doesn't have any tattoos that I know of, but there's no way to verify that she was a virgin when she got married or that she doesn't have debt. Girls, understand this, guys. Girls always lie about things that cannot be verified. Their notch counts, their debt, their number of abortions, anything that cannot be proven unequivocally to be true, they lie about 100% of the time because they know you'll never find out the truth. But men with red pill awareness know that females always tell on themselves sooner or later, and that is exactly what Miss Emerson is doing here. She tells us that she was a virgin when she was married, but she is so emotionally triggered by Lori Alexander's article that it's obvious that she clearly was not.
this week I'd actually been working on a video that I had been really worked up about in terms of legalism in the church, just seeing a lot of legalistic teachings, especially in the YouTube community specifically, and I was going to do a whole video on that. And then when I filmed it, I just felt like I had been too angry about it. You know, maybe I shouldn't be this worked up about it. Maybe I should take a different approach. But then I went on the internet today and saw an article from a relatively successful Christian marriage blog. And the title of the article was, "Men Prefer Debt-Free Virgins Without Tattoos." And what I proceeded to read in this article was probably one of the most enraging things and damaging articles I've ever read in my life. In the original video I made on legalism, which I might still post honestly at this point, I just kept thinking to myself while filming it, you know, is there really a point to this? Like, people can't honestly believe the kind of teachings that I'm preaching against right now. And then I read this article. Do you know how much more attractive debt-free virgins without tattoos are to young men? Unfortunately, there are so few of these types of young women anymore because of the high cost of college and sexual promiscuity even within those in the church. As believers of Jesus Christ, we need to live in a way that is pleasing to Him because His ways are best. He calls debt a burden and urges us to live lives of sexual purity. There are many reasons why Christian young women should carefully consider whether or not they go to college, especially if they want to be wives and mothers someday. Even from the beginning of the article, though I do believe that we are to live our lives in a way that reflects Christ.
Uh-oh, there she goes, already contradicting herself.
I, however, do not come at it from a shaming and guilt-based message, and
Shaming and guilt-based message. Translation: I like to sugarcoat the truth to appease my followers. This is the perfect example of a woman not being able to handle hard truths about themselves. Rather, this is the perfect example of women not being able to handle hard truths about themselves and their decisions in life. Katie knows this. She knows that women can't handle the truth about themselves. That's why she's like, well, I would never use the shaming-based tactic. For someone to point out that sexual promiscuity takes women out of the running to become the wives and girlfriends of men of value is shaming as far as women are concerned. All Lori Alexander did here was tell the truth, and that's what Miss Emerson's problem is. You see, gentlemen, Katie knows Miss Alexanderson is being truthful here. She knows that young women who go to college sleep with a lot of guys and incur a lot of debt. She knows this. Debt is a burden. Casual sex does destroy women. But she wants to act like Miss Alexander is shaming women by merely pointing out the truth. This isn't a shaming and guilt-based message. It's the truth, and she knows that her followers can't handle it. Lori Alexander didn't use strong language in the article, and I've linked it in the description if you guys want to go check that out. She didn't call anybody names. She didn't use all this strong language or do any name calling. No, she didn't do any of that. All she did was point out the truth. Because women are uncomfortable. And because women are uncomfortable with the truths about themselves, they call it shaming to discourage others from pointing out these same truths. Women can handle making bad decisions, but they cannot handle the accountability that comes along with it.
Certainly do not come in it from a way to almost exclude so many wonderful children of God.
Oh, children of God. Miss Alexander didn't exclude anyone, Katie. These women excluded themselves. They excluded themselves with their bad decisions. And she calls these banana gobblers children of God, which is, guys, this is so transparent. She wants to put the title of children of God on these women to make them seem like they're more valuable than they really are. Well, they're children of God. You can't talk about them or God is going to get you. Listen, man, you can call them children of God, children of the corn, you can call them whatever you want. Okay? But women who sleep around aren't worth anything but a one-night stand. Children of God, child of God or not. Calling them something else, calling them a children of God does not negate that fact.
And women who believe in scripture and maybe have done things in their past that God has forgiven them for.
That God has forgiven them for.
It seems like this article, the whole thing, she talks about these women who have lived promiscuous lives and completely leaves out the fact that we serve a God of grace. We serve a God of forgiveness.
This is the problem with women in the church. They use God's forgiveness as an excuse to sleep around. This is what's called, and I remember this when I was a kid, because I grew up in the Baptist church. I remember a preacher, I forgot what his name was, but he called this presumptuous sin, right? Women think to themselves, well, I can sleep around, and it's going to be okay because God is going to forgive me anyway. Just because God forgives you doesn't mean that men will. Men and God are not the same, Miss Emerson, and holding men to the same standard as your God doesn't mean we're going to forgive a woman's past and wife her up. God's forgiveness for promiscuity is womanese for God's permission to sleep around.
It's like she's preaching this message that if you are someone who has made a mistake maybe once in your life.
Maybe once in your life? So she's doing what females always do, which is drastically minimize what's really going on. And she qualifies it with the word maybe. Maybe once in your life also means that it may be more than once, which means 278 times. This chick knows women don't make sexual mistakes only once. She knows they make this mistake again and again and again. For her to say maybe once in your life is intellectually dishonest and transparent.
Or if you've done something as normal as go to college or put a tattoo of a cross on your arm or
tattoo of a cross on your arm. Listen. Notice how small she made the tattoo seem. Miss Alexander isn't talking about women who made one mistake with a bad boy. She's not talking about women who have a small cross on their arm or hand. She's talking about women who have hopped from bed to bed, day after day, week after week, year after year. She's talking about women with large, visible tattoos. There's no such thing as a woman who slept with one bad boy. There's no such thing as a woman who has a small cross tattooed on her arm. Women are bipolar in this regard. They either indulge or they refrain from it, or they completely refrain from it. That's how this goes. They either don't drink or they get smashed. They either get no tattoos or they get sleeve tattoos and neck tattoos. They either sleep around or they don't. Katie is trying to make the exceptions the rule. Yes, there are women out there who may have a small tattoo somewhere on her body that she can easily cover up that they regret. There are women out there who made a mistake with a guy one time. I knew a girl in college. Her name was Summer. She was absolutely 100% a virgin. She slept with one of my homeboys, and she regretted it. She said, I thought we were going to be together forever, and It was, and it was really, really weird. Dude, my homeboy told us all about it. He gave us all the details. We're like, dude, I can't believe you took this girl's virginity. This girl was devastated. These are the women that Katie here is talking about, but she knows that these women are few and far between. How many virgins do we know? Honestly, how many virgins under the age of, how many virgins under the age of 16 do you know? Or how many virgins, rather, over the age of 16 do we know? I can't think of any, right?
Ever on your body that you are now completely separate from God and he doesn't want you anymore.
See what she's doing here again, guys? She keeps conflating God with men, okay? God forgives. Men do not. God may still want women who have tattoos and debt to be in church, but men ain't trying to wife up these hoes, Miss Emerson. God isn't on the dating market. Men are. And you'll see her contradict herself later on when she tells us that men are not God.
Shame on the woman who got an education. She literally goes on to say that women who want to be independent are classified as like the bad kind of Christian women. Independence to her is bad.
The independence that the Bible teaches is not the independence that feminism teaches, gentlemen. The independence that feminism teaches is acting like spoiled, entitled, neurotic brats who don't listen to anybody because they can pay their own bills. Independence in 2019 means being as insufferable as possible because you don't need no man. And women who act like this are the bad kind of Christian women because men don't want loud, brash, promiscuous, bitchy, entitled, neurotic women to be their wives, girlfriends, and the mother of their children. So yes, Katie, independence to her and men of value is absolutely bad because the kind of independence that she's referring to turns females into women who act just like you.
This is what she says about women going to college. Secular universities teach against the God of the Bible and his ways. It's far from what God calls women to be and do. It teaches them to be independent, loud, and immodest instead of having meek and quiet spirits. This is a message that hurt me so much growing up because if you know me, you know that I am a vibrant, enthusiastic, loud, energetic person. And because of that, I was never going to be the person to just sit on the sidelines and like fold my hands in my lap and meekly answer this and quietly answer this and
so she's an extrovert. And listen, ladies, there's nothing wrong with extroverted women. There isn't. If you want to be an extrovert, be an extrovert. But men in the know, men with red pill awareness, we understand that extroverted women get more attention from men because of their outgoing personalities. And the more attention a woman gets, the more tempted she'll be to hop on the carousel. And because we know that women lack impulse control, we know that they're going to succumb to the pressure and the temptation far more often than not. Any woman who says she's the life of the party or calls herself outgoing is a woman who is seeking attention. Look at me. I'm here. I'm outgoing. I'm the life of the party. Again, nothing wrong with being this way. Nothing wrong at all. But men of value aren't going to commit to women who constantly draw attention to themselves on purpose. The reason the Bible teaches women to be meager and not to speak unless spoken to is because the Bible understands the true nature of women. And again, guys, I'm not overly religious. But the Bible is blue pill, man. I'm trying to tell you. The Bible teaches women to be subservient and quiet, which is another way of saying staying in pocket. Men of value want women who stay in pocket, not women who draw attention to themselves all the time as an extrovert.
What I was told. Like, no, I had energy. I wanted to express myself. This kind of teaching and this kind of message that is spread throughout the church so widely teaches young women that if you are like me, like if you have a personality that is a bit more loud.
There she goes again. There she goes again. A bit more loud. She's minimizing the truth again. This chick isn't a bit more loud. She's straight up loud. She does this a lot in this video, as you guys will see. She just said, I don't know, 30, 40 seconds ago in the video, made a mistake maybe once in your life, right? She's minimizing sexual promiscuity. She's minimizing the mistakes of women. There's no such thing as being a little bit pregnant any more than being a little bit more loud. You are either loud or you are not. Again, there's nothing wrong with having a personality, but having a loud personality has its consequences, like being passed over for women who are a bit more quiet, who are meager with their hands folded.
That is wrong. She literally calls being independent and loud wrong.
Like, all of these dramatics and theatrics on the edge of a mental breakdown, get the hell out of here with that. Give me a break. This woman is so self-important. Give me a break.
This legalistic Christian, if we can even call it that, teaching says to young women that your only job is to produce kids and to cook for your husband. And it is even encouraged for you to live under your father's roof until you get married, because how on earth are you supposed to understand the scriptures if you don't have your father or your husband to explain them to you?
Wrong. That's not the only reason the Bible teaches this. This is not the only reason the Bible teaches young women to stay living with their father, their mother, and their father. The Bible teaches this because the Bible knows that women who live alone are women who sleep around. I say this all the time, guys. A telltale sign of a banana gobbler is a woman who lives alone because she can sleep with as many men as she wants without indirectly being held accountable for their actions. If a young woman lives with her father until marriage, the odds of her staying a virgin and sexually chaste dramatically increase, which preserves her value as a woman. The young woman living under the same roof as her father will have her sexual purity protected by her father, as it should be. That's why the Bible teaches this.
She literally says that women can't read the Bible and understand them without a man explaining them to her. Do we not see? Church, wake up. Do we not see how damaging that message is?
How the hell is that damaging? And seriously, spare me with all... Dude, it's so funny. This chick wants to act like she's crying. She's not really crying, right? And then she gets mad all of a sudden. This is what women do. Anyway, all this means is that women need men to interpret what the Bible says. That doesn't mean that women are stupid. It doesn't mean that they're incapable of comprehending what the Bible says. It means that the Bible knows and understands that women will see what they want to see because they want to give themselves permission to misbehave. That's why women need men to interpret the Bible and enforce those interpretations. Because a woman will read something like, I don't know, the Lord says thou shalt wait until you're married to have sex, and a woman will disingenuously twist it by thinking, well, I thought those 12 guys I slept with last month were all husband material, so technically I haven't sinned. This is what women do, and the Bible knows this. The Bible knows that women cannot be left to their own devices when it comes to protecting their chastity and interpreting the Bible.
So many women. Okay, so something else I noticed that in this article, she goes on to talk about all three of these things, like having tattoos, or living on your own and being independent and going to college and not being a virgin are all like under the same category of what you shouldn't do. Like it's all the same amount of sin. And yet nowhere in the Bible does it ever tell women that you aren't supposed to have a brain.
Oh, there she goes again. Oh, get at it. No, it doesn't say thou shalt not have a brain if you are a woman. No. The Bible teaches sexual purity. And any woman who goes to college is ravaged by dozens of men, which strips away any and all sexual purity. Miss Emerson knows what goes on in college, guys. She knows what goes on. But she wants to act like Lori Alexander is telling women to be mindless drones because she states that women who go to college end up as raging banana gobblers. That's what she's saying. When she says nowhere in the Bible does it say a woman shouldn't have a brain is another disingenuous excuse that she is making to give women permission to go to college and indulge themselves under the guise of getting an education.
God encouraged and spoke to so many women who were doing so many amazing things, and he was so proud of them, and he encouraged them, and he encouraged their giftings. And yet why now in the church is there such this message that you have no value as a woman to even be able to teach on scripture? Do you know how many comments I've gotten over the years from Christians telling me that I'm going to hell because I am a woman who is somehow teaching a man? By making these videos on Christian topics, I am teaching men, which is so sinful for me to do because women aren't allowed to have a teaching position. Do you not know that it is sinful for a woman to like pray over a man?
That's not sinful, Miss Emerson. It's foolhardy. A man should not listen to a woman's dating advice any more than he should listen to a woman's interpretation of the Bible. Women are incapable of rational thought. Again, the Bible knows this. This is why women who teach men about the Bible are frowned upon in the church. The church knows that a woman's interpretation of these scriptures are flawed at best, dangerous at worst. A woman will always interpret things in such a way that makes her bad decisions and lifestyle convenient to her and other women like her. This is why the church frowns upon women who teach men about the Bible.
Or to speak some kind of teaching or to have an opinion on scripture and tell a man that is so sinful, people. The article continues on to say this of young women who have gone to college. The husband will need to take years teaching his wife the correct way to act, think, and live, since college taught them every possible way that is wrong. Sadly, most young Christian women wouldn't listen to their husbands since they've not been taught to live in submission to their husbands. Some of you hearing this might actually laugh and think no one actually believes that. I can assure you they do. My mom has been in Christian marriage ministry for almost 10 years now, and this is a fight that she deals with every day on
I wonder why.
There is a message being widespread in the church that it is a husband's job to teach his wife how to act, think, and live. That without his teaching, a woman would inevitably stumble and live a life of sin and ruin.
That's because it is our job, Miss Emerson. A woman will live a life of sin and ruin. Back in the day, a man's job was just to keep his woman away from the things that threatened their marriage. That job was much easier because mothers of the past taught their daughters how to cook, how to clean, how to be submissive and obedient to their husbands, and be good wives and mothers. But here in 2019, we are tasked with undoing the damage that feminism has done to today's women because they're being taught how to be the worst wives and mothers they can possibly be. This is why I released my 7-hour audio course, How to Build a Quality Woman from the Ground Up. Women don't come ready-made to be good wives and mothers anymore, guys. We don't get the luxury of just having to maintain and preserve a woman's value like our ancestors did. No. It's on us. We have to undo that damage by training the bad behavior, the promiscuous characteristics, and the self-destructive tendencies out of women, which is damn near impossible because there are so many other forces that are working against us. Then she says that without a man's guidance, a woman will live a life of sin, and ruin in such a way. And when she says this in such a way that this idea is just preposterous. Look around, Miss Emerson. Women are living lives of sin and ruin. They're sleeping around. They're drinking in excess. They're doing drugs. They're having threesomes. They're getting trains run on them. They're having abortions. They're having multiple children with multiple men. They're committing paternity fraud. They're getting STDs. The list is endless. Women are the state that they are in today because they are not being led by men. This is why the Bible teaches that a man is supposed to teach his wife how to be a woman. The Bible, no, actually, I don't know, maybe the Bible is foreshadowing. The Bible seemed to know and understand that mothers don't train they don't teach their daughters how to be good wives and mothers anymore. So it's on us to do it.
Because she couldn't do it without a husband telling her what to do every step of the way. I kid you not. You're laughing at me because you honestly don't think people believe that. They do.
And so does the Bible. Does this woman not realize that she is speaking directly against what the Bible teaches? Does she not realize what she's doing here? She's sitting here rationalizing women's bad decisions and then calling them, or rather, then telling them that the Bible has it wrong, but then blaming it on men and our standards. She's doing exactly what the Bible knows that women would do when interpreting the scriptures, which is picking out the bits and pieces that are the easiest to follow, then twisting the parts that hold them accountable and tell them to obey men into an indictment on the male species. She's essentially blaming men for what the Bible says.
Husband is not Jesus. The only person I will turn to tell me what I should think about things is God. See, I married another.
And there it is. My husband is not Jesus, so he can't tell me what to do. Gentlemen, this is a ploy that Christian women like to use to escape accountability. They call Jesus and God their ultimate authority because nobody can see or hear Jesus and God. Just like Kay Michelle said when Derek Jackson asked her, well, what's your top 1%? Jesus and Obama. Right? She knows that she's not getting with Jesus or Obama, so that's the standard that she sets for herself. A man can tell his wife, don't go to work dressed like you're going to the club. And she can say, well, you can't tell me what to do. You're not God. Women also like to say, only God can judge me. And they say this because they can't see or hear God's judgment when they make bad decisions. They don't want to hear that the choices they're making are destructive. They don't want to hear people call them out on their bad behavior, so they point to something that nobody has ever heard or seen and say that that thing is the ultimate judge. Miss Emerson is doing the same thing here, guys. She doesn't want to obey her husband, so she's telling us that God is the only man she'll listen to in order to give herself permission to disobey her husband and do whatever the hell she wants. All Christian women do this, guys. This is why when Stefan Molyneux tells men to look for women in the church, I laugh my ass off. Advising men to look for women in the church is about as ridiculous as taking dating advice from women.
Sinful.
Oh, and by the way, and I know I have the picture blown out, but in parenthesis, I'm going to read what's in parenthesis at the bottom of the screen here while she's talking about, basically telling us that only God could judge me and tell me what to do. For those of you guys listening, it says, quote, obviously, I still want David's opinion because we're a team, but he is not my ultimate authority. Translation. I'll listen to what you have to say to give you the impression that I give a damn about what you said, but in the end, I'm going to do what I want. Women who say that God is their ultimate authority is using this as a buffer to dismiss a man's authority the same way single mothers use their children as a buffer to not have sex with the simps who want to wife them up. Well, I know you want to smash tonight, but my children come first. I'm not going to be able to do it tonight. Then 10 minutes later, they shoot a nude. They send a nude picture to Kevin and Sales, who comes over and pounds her out on the couch while the kids are asleep in the back room.
Human being who is subject to the same kind of temptations and mistakes and sins that I am. And so if I was just to believe him on everything I was supposed to do, that is putting him in a pedestal in a place that is not his. He is not the one seated at the right hand of God the Father.
He is not the one seated at the right hand of God the Father. So men have to be seated at the right hand of the Father to have authority over you. Is that it? Again, all of that nonsense is her telling her husband that he doesn't have the final word. That's all this is.
Jesus is, okay? Let's just get this straight. Our husbands are not automatically Jesus because they have male anatomy and we have female anatomy. It sounds ridiculous that I even have to say it.
Do you see how this chick is so neurotic? It gives me a headache. This chick is all over the back. Dude, she's like I don't know, maybe she's on speed or something. Look at the screen. It says still close to a mental breakdown. It's like she's glorifying the fact that she's this neurotic, emotionally charged creature, but then she wants to tell us about the rationality of sleeping around that comes from the rational Bible. Ay.
See, the thing is, I could fit every criteria that this article praises. Like, I don't have tattoos. I didn't have debt. I was a virgin for my husband.
She said I could fit. You hear that? I could fit every one of these, and then she goes down the line. I'm a virgin, didn't have tattoos, didn't get married. Interesting.
I even could go beyond and say, like, I know how to...
Oh, also, if you guys are noticing the screen, and I'm going to point this out a little bit later, notice that she's not wearing a wedding ring. Right? If she was supposed to be, sanctified and redeemed and all that other psychobabble that church zealots like to spew, she would be wearing her wedding ring. More on that later.
Later on in the article, she talks about how college is bad because, women should be at home learning how to cook and garden. So yeah, I know how to cook, and I always have wanted to be able to stay home with my kids. However, even though, like, I'm the definition of a lot of things that she praises, I could not wish to be further separated.
So let me get this straight. You say you're the epitome of what a man wants. A virgin with no debt and no tattoos, but you want to be separated from this from this message? What sense does that make? Oh, I know. You aren't the epitome of the message. Guys, I don't know about her debt because I can't prove that she has or doesn't have debt. But I can tell you this. This chick 100% was not a virgin when she married her husband. Otherwise, she wouldn't have such an adverse reaction to this article. She went to college and she has an outgoing personality. Case closed. Never mind the fact that she's sitting here justifying a woman's promiscuity. Never mind that at all. No. Outgoing personality. You can see that she's actually quite attractive. She has pretty eyes. She went to college. End of discussion. It's like she's telling us, even though I didn't sleep around, I hate it when I hear it's bad to sleep around. No, baby girl, you have slept around. That's why you're on this rant. Newsflash, Miss Emerson's a hit dog, guys. Period.
I noticed too when it comes to virginity, it's always a message of shame geared towards women. Like, if you've messed up, nobody's gonna want you now. She claims all these things, and at the end of the article, she basically says, so if you want to be happy, be debt-free, don't have tattoos, and be a virgin. And she makes it sound as though if you've neglected any one of those three things, it's now your fault. If you're single, it's your fault. If you're not happy, because this is God's punishment for something you did wrong.
No, sweetie, this isn't God's punishment. This is the simple concept of cause and effect. If you throw a ball up, it's going to come back down. If you eat too much, you're going to get fat. If you lift heavy weights and watch your diet, you're going to be in great shape. God doesn't make the ball come back down when you throw it up. Gravity does. God doesn't make you fat if you eat too much. The unhealthy food does. God doesn't give you a great physique if you lift heavy and eat clean. The weights and the good food does. God doesn't punish women with crushing debt, tattoos, and a high body count. The sexual market does, which means that men do. That's what this rant is really about. It's about this chick bitching and complaining about the fact that men don't want women with tatted up, used up bodies. Women can say whatever they want in terms of what they think God wants or doesn't want. But in the end, men are the ultimate authority because women want men, not God. You don't learn to cook and clean for God. You learn to cook and clean for a man. Women don't dress up for God. They dress up for men. Men have the final word, Miss Emerson, not God. And you know this, and this is why you're losing your mind right now.
I highly doubt she would say the same message to a guy who had the same thing.
And there it is, guys. There it is. You knew it was coming. A woman conflating men and women. A woman telling us that men and women are the same. Here we go. Here we go.
I will be honest with you. My husband, whom I love endlessly, was 0 for 3 on all of these criteria that she set forth. He had a little bit of debt when we got engaged. If you've seen a picture of him, you know he has tattoos, and he was not a virgin for me.
That's why you married him! This is why you love him endlessly, Katie! Which proves again that sexual attraction is not symmetrical. This chick just sat here and ranted for, 7.5 minutes about how unfair it is for women to be held to different standards than men, and that women should hold men to the same standard, but she's married to a man with tattoos who slept around and had debt. We are not attracted to the same things you are, ladies. The things that make you attractive to us are not the same things that make us attractive to you. Katie Emerson just sat here and verified exactly that. She claims she was a virgin with no tattoos and no debt, and that her husband is the opposite, and she loves him endlessly. Ladies, stop listening to people who don't practice what they preach. This girl is married to a man that fits the description of the article she's ranting against, but she's telling women that men and women are the same. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I was not more holy or more pure than he was when we came together in marriage, because we serve a God of grace, forgiveness, and redemption. And when you change
wait a minute.
your life, and
Hang
when
on.
you give your life...
If you're looking now, you can probably see the wedding ring, right? Now she's wearing the wedding ring. Hang on a second. I'm going to bring something up here. Give me a second here. Give me 1 second. There it is. Take a look at your screen, guys. Take a look at your screen. Okay? This picture is from earlier. So is this one. No wedding ring on her finger. No wedding ring on her finger. Now, all of a sudden, now she's wearing a wedding ring. Now you see? Now she's got the ring on. Right? You guys can see that, right? This chick is a walking contradiction. If she were so happily married, she would never take her ring off. Now, why is this significant? Simple. Because actions speak louder than words. Why should I believe that she's a virgin if she can't even be physically honest with us on camera? She says she's married but didn't wear her ring for at least half of this video. There is absolutely zero, other than a CAT scan, and it doesn't look like she's in a CAT scan machine. Other than that, there is absolutely zero reason for a woman to take off her wedding ring. None. So if she can't remember to at least keep up appearances to the people who matter to her, which is her audience, then how can we trust that she was sexually chaste before she was married? Spoiler alert, we can't. For all we know, she may have recorded this video after sleeping with the guy that she's been having an affair with and forgot to put it back on, which wouldn't surprise me in the least. And oh, by the way, her husband's in the military. So a military wife who takes off her wedding ring on the regular. I'm not saying what happened. I'm not saying what didn't, but I think you can do the math. Let's continue.
Him, and when you live honoring God, he redeems your past.
He redeems your past. That may be true, Katie, but men don't redeem anything. If a woman has a sexual past that involves a lot of men, she is going to pay that price one way or the other. Just because God redeems your past doesn't mean that men will.
Get thousands of hours of content not found anywhere on patreon.com/Donovan Sharp. Link in description.